They told him it was over, that at 73, desire fades, connection dims, and a man should simply accept it. But one quiet evening, with nothing left to lose, he stirred a spoonful of raw honey into warm water, and everything changed. Not overnight, but slowly, steadily, life returned to his hands, his heart, and his bedroom. I'm Dr. James. For more than 3 decades, I've helped men restore what time and stress have slowly taken: strength, circulation, and intimacy. Not with expensive drugs or complicated routines, but with simple, time-tested truths. Because here's the paradox. The answer isn't in doing more. It's in doing something different, something forgotten. And one of the most powerful tools? It's likely sitting in your pantry right now. In this message, I'll show you exactly how to use honey, yes, honey, in a specific, natural way to improve blood flow, energy, and deep connection after 60. The timing is everything. Most men use it wrong. In the next moments, I'll reveal how to do it right so you don't miss what could be the turning point in your second act. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, take a moment to hit that button and turn on the bell. This way you won't miss any future tips designed to help you feel stronger, more connected, and more alive after 60. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0. Your feedback helps me make this better for you. Now that you understand just how powerful something as simple as honey can be, let's take a closer look at why circulation naturally declines after 60, what that really means for your energy, your intimacy, and your overall well-being, and more importantly, what you can do about it starting today. 1. Why circulation declines after 60, and what it's doing to your energy and intimacy. I still remember the moment a patient named Harold, 71 years old, soft-spoken, a retired school principal, sat across from me and said, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore. I'm tired even when I rest. I feel disconnected." That quiet sentence speaks for millions of men over 60. The truth is, what Harold was describing isn't just aging, it's poor circulation, and it's far more common than most realize. After 60, your blood vessels naturally begin to lose their elasticity. The inner lining, what we call the endothelium, doesn't produce as much nitric oxide, the gas your body uses to relax blood vessels and send blood where it's needed. As this process slows, blood flow becomes restricted. The result? Cold hands and feet, sluggish energy, a heart that has to work harder, and for many, a fading sense of vitality, physically, mentally, and intimately. You might feel a subtle loss of connection with your body or notice that certain moments with your partner feel less vibrant than they once did. That's not your fault. It's your biology calling out for support. And here's what matters. Circulation is not just about your heart. It's about your brain, your muscles, your desire, your confidence. It's the very foundation of how alive you feel in your own skin. And the good news is, even after 60, your body can respond beautifully when given the right signal. Which brings us to the question most men never think to ask. If something as simple as raw honey can trigger that signal, how exactly does it work? What's inside honey that science is finally beginning to understand, and how can it help you feel stronger, clearer, and more connected than you have in years? That's exactly what we're about to uncover. If you're still here and this message is resonating with you, drop a number 1 in the comments so I know you're with me on this journey. Now let's keep going. What you'll hear next might just shift the way you see something as simple as honey forever. 2. The hidden power of honey backed by science. I'll be honest with you, when I first heard an elderly farmer swear that a spoonful of raw honey each morning was the secret to his stamina and sharpness, I smiled politely. I'd spent decades in clinical medicine, leaning on research and protocols. Honey to me was just something you put in tea. But what I didn't realize at the time, what science has only recently begun to confirm, is that honey is far more than just natural sugar. It's a potent, biologically active substance with real cardiovascular benefits, especially when it's raw, unfiltered, and used intentionally. Raw honey contains powerful antioxidants, flavonoids, and trace enzymes that help reduce inflammation and improve blood vessel function. Most importantly, certain compounds in honey help increase the production of nitric oxide, the very same molecule your body needs to keep blood vessels open, flexible, and flowing. This isn't folklore. It's supported by studies showing honey's role in improving cholesterol ratios, supporting heart health, and enhancing endothelial function. It's no wonder that cultures around the world long before pharmaceuticals used honey not just as food but as medicine. From Ayurvedic traditions to ancient Egyptian practices, honey was treasured for its restorative properties, particularly in aging men. And here's the personal part. When I began recommending honey to some of my older patients in the right form and timing, I started seeing something subtle but powerful. Color returning to their faces, warmth in their hands, energy in their steps, even a kind of brightness in their eyes. It wasn't a miracle. It was nature doing what it does best, supporting life when given a chance. But here's where it gets truly interesting. You can't just eat any honey anytime and expect results. There's a method to this, a timing, a way to use honey that turns it from sweetener into something much more powerful. And in the next moment, I'll show you exactly how it works. 3. The 60-60 method. How to use honey to boost circulation and connection. Over the years, I've learned that timing can be everything. I once had a patient named Carl, 66, widowed, thoughtful, quietly struggling with low energy and a sense of isolation he didn't quite know how to describe. He'd tried vitamins, prescriptions, even some trendy supplements. Nothing made a difference until he followed something I now call the 60-60 method. It's simple but surprisingly powerful. It starts with 1 teaspoon of raw honey, taken on an empty stomach first thing in the morning or about an hour before intimacy. Not after a heavy meal, not mixed into sugary coffee, just raw honey, either on its own or stirred gently into warm, not hot, water. What Carl noticed after just a few days wasn't dramatic, but it was real. He said his mind felt sharper in the morning. His hands weren't as cold, and maybe most meaningful of all, when he reconnected with someone new in his life, he said, "I didn't feel numb anymore. I felt present." The 60-60 method is built on the idea that the body responds best when given what it needs at the right time. Honey helps support nitric oxide, but combining it with gentle movement, like a 10-minute walk, amplifies its effect. It's not about magic, it's about momentum. The right inputs done consistently can shift the way your blood moves, how your brain works, and how you show up in your relationships. Some men like to add a squeeze of lemon or a dash of cayenne. You don't have to. What matters most is the ritual, starting your day with intention, giving your body a clean, natural boost that supports circulation and energy from the inside out. But what happens when you stick with this? When a daily ritual becomes a rhythm your body starts to trust, that's where things really start to change, and that's exactly what I want to share with you next. 4. What men over 60 are reporting after using the honey method. I still get letters. Handwritten ones, emails too, messages from men across the country who've quietly tried the honey method and found something they hadn't expected to get back. A sense of themselves. There was George, 69, who said he'd almost given up on dating after his divorce. He started using honey as I'd shown him. 1 teaspoon every morning, a short walk, no big expectations. 3 weeks later, he told me he felt more comfortable in his skin. He was laughing more. He'd even joined a local dance class and met someone special. Then there was Ron, 74, a retired firefighter who'd been on blood pressure meds for over a decade. He didn't think honey could possibly help, but he tried anyway. 2 months in under supervision, his doctor noticed enough improvement in his circulation that they adjusted his medication. But Ron wasn't most excited about that. What he told me, voice steady and proud, was this: "I feel like I can show up for my wife again. Not just physically, emotionally, fully." These stories may sound small from the outside, but when you've lived through years of slow decline, of feeling invisible in your own body, a change like this feels monumental. It's not just about energy or performance, it's about the quiet return of confidence, of presence, of being able to say, I'm still here. And it's not a miracle cure. It's consistency. It's intention. It's your body responding day by day when you give it something real. Now, as powerful as these results are, they only tell part of the story. There's something deeper happening when circulation improves, something that goes far beyond physical health. Because when blood flows, something else flows with it. Your ability to think clearly, feel deeply, and connect fully. So let's talk about that connection, and why, for many men, this small change is restoring something they thought they'd lost forever. 5. The science behind the connection. Why blood flow equals bonding. One of the most moving conversations I've had in my career came from a man named Walter, 76, who said to me, "Doc, I don't miss being young, I miss feeling close." He wasn't talking about performance, he was talking about presence, the kind that makes you feel seen, wanted, alive in the moment with someone you love. What many don't realize is that emotional intimacy and physical connection are not separate systems in the body. They're deeply tied to circulation. When blood isn't flowing freely, it's not just the body that starts to shut down. The mind dulls. Emotions flatten. You don't laugh as easily. You feel a little more distant, a little less yourself. Over time, it chips away at connection, until one day you look in the mirror and wonder where that spark went. But when circulation improves, something remarkable happens. Your brain receives more oxygen. Your nerves become more responsive. Hormones like testosterone and dopamine begin to rebalance. You not only feel more alert, you feel more present. And in that presence, relationships shift. You listen more. You hold a gaze longer. You feel comfortable reaching for your partner's hand, or making a joke, or initiating a moment of closeness. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it feels real again. That's why when men tell me this method helped them reconnect, they often mean more than just physically. They mean emotionally, spiritually. They feel grounded again, like their feet are back on the earth and their heart is open. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming vitality, your natural ability to show up in your life with clarity, strength, and warmth. But as we explore these benefits, we also have to be honest. Many men don't get the results they hope for. Not because honey doesn't work, but because of a few common mistakes that quietly block progress. Let me show you what to avoid, so you don't waste a single step on your journey back to yourself. 6. What not to do. Common mistakes to avoid. When I first began sharing this honey method with patients, I assumed most would see the benefits quickly. But over time, I noticed something puzzling. While many men reported feeling better, more energized, more connected, some didn't feel much change at all. And it wasn't because the method didn't work, it was because of a few small, avoidable mistakes that quietly held them back. One of the most common is choosing the wrong kind of honey. Many men unknowingly pick up those clear plastic bottles from the grocery store, filtered, pasteurized, stripped of nutrients. What your body needs is raw, unfiltered honey, ideally local or organic, where the enzymes and natural compounds are still intact. That's what supports nitric oxide. That's what helps the blood flow. Another mistake, taking it after a heavy meal or right before bed. Your digestive system becomes sluggish late in the day, and when your stomach is full, the honey's effects are dulled. Timing matters. Early morning or an hour before connection, that's when your body is most responsive. Then there are the men who try to rush the process. They take too much, hoping for faster results. 2 or 3 tablespoons a day, thinking more must be better. But too much honey can spike blood sugar and lead to crashes that undo everything you're trying to build. 1 teaspoon is enough. Consistency is more powerful than quantity. I've even seen men abandon the method after just a few days because they didn't feel a jolt of energy. But this isn't a magic trick. It's a signal to the body, a quiet nudge. It takes time to restore what's been neglected for years. And when you give it that time, something amazing happens. Now, if you've made one of these mistakes, don't worry. Most men do at first. But once you correct course, the benefits tend to appear more quickly than expected. So now that you know what not to do, let's talk about what you can do, starting today, to build a lasting ritual that supports not just your circulation, but your entire sense of well-being. 7. Final thoughts from Dr. James. I've walked alongside thousands of men in the later chapters of life, men who were tired, frustrated, and quietly wondering if their best days were behind them. And I can tell you this, they weren't, not even close. There's something incredibly powerful about the moment a man decides he's not going to settle for decline, that he still wants to feel connection, presence, strength, that he still wants to hold his partner and mean it, that he still wants to wake up with purpose. You don't have to climb a mountain or run a marathon. Sometimes it starts with something as small as a teaspoon of honey. You see, this journey isn't really about honey. It's about reclaiming your rhythm, taking back your mornings, walking again with intention, feeling your breath in your chest and the blood in your fingertips. It's about giving your body a signal that says, I'm still in this, I'm not done yet. When my patients start using this method, the feedback that moves me most isn't about performance or numbers. It's when they say, I feel more like myself again. That's what matters. Because when you feel like you, clear, grounded, alive, everything else begins to fall into place. You don't need to do everything, but you do need to do something. Start where you are. Start small. Stay consistent. The body has an incredible ability to repair, to restore, and to respond, especially when it's treated with care, patience, and a little wisdom passed down from those who've lived long enough to understand what truly matters. Now, as we prepare to close, I want to give you something practical, something you can begin using today, because knowing all of this is only the first step. What matters now is how you bring it to life. So let me show you exactly how to build your own daily ritual. Simple, powerful, and designed to support the man you are and the life you still have ahead. 8. Closing words. Your daily ritual, your new beginning. If there's one truth I've come to believe deeply over the years, it's this. Small things done consistently can change everything. You've learned today that circulation isn't just about blood, it's about energy, clarity, presence, and connection. You've seen how it declines with age, how it silently chips away at vitality, and how something as natural and humble as raw honey can help guide the body back to life. You've heard the science, yes, but also the stories. Real men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s rediscovering what it means to feel like themselves again. Men who didn't chase youth but chose to honor the life they still had by showing up for it with intention. You've also seen how easily progress can be derailed by common mistakes. It's not about doing more, it's about doing it right and giving your body the rhythm it needs to respond. So now it's your turn. Start simple. Each morning, 1 teaspoon of raw honey taken with purpose. Walk for a few minutes afterward. Let your body remember what movement feels like. Breathe deeper. Stand taller. Notice the shift, not just in your body, but in your mood, your thinking, your connection with those around you. This isn't just a ritual, it's a declaration, a quiet way of saying, I'm still here, I still matter, and I'm not finished yet. I've walked this road with many men. I've seen the doubt in their eyes at the start, and the light that returns when they begin to feel better, stronger, more present. That light is still in you, and it's never too late to let it shine again. So whatever else life brings your way, let this be the beginning of a new chapter, one that's rooted in strength, clarity, and connection, one small step at a time, starting now.